Hey y'all, it's Hunter Elliott, rangehot.com. Hope you're doing well. As for me, yep, still on the right side of the grass, no complaints. If I had any, I'm sure you probably didn't want to hear it anyhow. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the point. This afternoon, I'm finalizing my review of the Dan Wesson Razorback 1911 style pistol chambered in my personal favorite, 10mm automatic. First thing I do want to show you, as always, the 8-round detachable box magazine is out. I have locked the slide to the rear, and I have ensured the chamber's empty so we know the pistol is safe to talk about. So y'all, I'm going to be full disclosure here. I did something I've never done before, and I made changes to a gun while I was reviewing it. I changed some stuff that I didn't like to some stuff that I did like during the review to see if it was going to make much of a difference, and I also experimented with a couple things while I was running the gun. So got a lot to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and get to it. First thing you notice is these are not the factory Dan Wesson stocks. Though Dan Wesson sends beautiful wooden double diamond checkered stocks traditionally like you would see on a 1911, I was shooting some of the hotter double tap 10mm, and after 3 or 4 mags of some of that stuff, you know, my hands, I was having just a little bit of trouble maintaining a good solid purchase on the gun. I got on the horn with my buddy that owns Grips, and I had that very conversation with him, and I said, hey, can you send me something that you recommend that can help me finish this review and make it a little bit more comfortable? Not so much comfort, but able to get a good solid purchase. And he sent me these nice aluminum stocks, and they are definitely aggressively textured, but not so bad it's going to bother your hand, but it definitely did make a difference. I also swapped out the Allen head stock screws because I don't like them. It's just that simple. So the reasoning behind that is when John Browning designed the 1911, he designed all the parts and pieces to be able to be tools to further detail strip the pistol. Point in case, the sear spring. The little crook on the sear spring leg that you use to take the magazine catch out, well, that can also be used to take the stocks out. While I was running the gun, I had some people say, hey man, swap in a full-length guide rod. It's going to help you with some of that, mitigate that recoil, add some weight out on the muzzle. So you know what? I had one laying around. We did run it. It didn't make no difference. I mean, it didn't hurt anything, but for me, it did not help with any of the perceived recoil, adding a little bit of weight out on the muzzle. I just don't think it was enough to matter. The length on this gun is 8.75 inches. The barrel is a 5-inch match grade, fully supported ramp barrel. The height on this gun is 5.5 inches. The width is 1.45 inches. The weight unloaded is 40.1 ounces. The trigger pull on this thing broke at 5 3/4 pounds. MSRP on this gun, $14.80. So as Dan Wesson's goes, that's not actually that bad because you realize the street price will be better than that. And so let's address something here real quick. Well, why are those Dan Wesson pistols so expensive? And I'll try to touch on this on all my reviews, so I'm going to do it again. Understand that it's a forged receiver and a forged slide. It is hand fit, it is hand assembled, and all the small parts are tool steel. They are no cast, no MIM. That's important to some people. It's not important to some people, but for me, no cast, no MIM, no question. Coming up here to the top of the pistol here, you do have some nice sights, drift adjustable rear, dovetailed front, and along the top of the slide you see it's nicely serrated, and that is going to cut down on any kind of sheen that you may get shooting this gun in bright sunlight or bright light. Just kind of help give you a little bit better sight alignment, sight picture. Now the front sight is solid black. It is textured, but it's solid black, so I opted to put a little white out on it because honestly, that front black sight and that rear black sight, if you were lining that stuff up and you want in beautiful light conditions, or you were shooting at like a black silhouette target, they tended to get a little bit lost. So if this was a gun that you're interested in, I would say you're probably going to want to either paint that front sight or swap it out. For me, I think swapping it out to like a front night sight or something with a brass bead would be mo better. We already talked about the trigger. It's got some take up, breaks really clean at 5 3/4 pounds. With a little bit of over travel, and it is a solid trigger, but you do have a little bit of over travel adjustment if you so choose to use it. So most Dan Wessons I've reviewed, you know, the triggers run 4.5 5 pounds. This one's a little bit heavier. I believe the reason that is because this gun is marketed toward people that's probably going to handgun hunt. Being in 10mm, It is called a Razorback, so a lot of people would probably take this either as a primary or secondary hunting sidearm. And with something like that, you may want a little bit heavier trigger pull, but here again, it's not so heavy to where I think it would interfere with carrying it every day like I have been doing for the past several months. So there you go. Front strap here is smooth. It is an all stainless steel pistol. You can see you've got some polished flats, but this front strap here is just glass beaded, so you got just a hint of texture. Now you come up here to the mainspring housing, and it is nicely textured. Really deep grip safety here with the palm swell, and as always, the palm swell is just a little bit of addition on that grip safety, so making sure you're grasping it, you're getting a good solid purchase on the gun to disengage that grip safety. Thumb safety, fantastic. Extended thumb safety, it swiped off and on with a very audible click. I carried it, like I say, for the past couple months in condition one. Never had any troubles or problems with that thumb safety swiping itself off, so that's a huge plus. Nice skeletonized speed hammer, and just on the very edge, it is also serrated, slide release, and it's got a few serrations here on the ledge. As always, there's going to be an article on rangehot.com to accompany the video portion of the review. It's going to have a lot more of the technical information, and all this stuff that I've talked about is going to be on that article as well. So if you got any questions, or if I run through something a little bit too quick, I apologize. Just jump over to rangehot.com, check out the article there. Hopefully that'll answer any questions. All total, man, we pushed about 600 rounds downrange through this pistol, and that's a lot of 10 millimeters. So I want to take this moment to thank Hornady, Defender Ammunition, Double Tap, Sig Sauer, because they sent me the bulk of the test ammo. So thank you, those guys. I couldn't have put that many rounds downrange without some help, because 10 millimeter gets expensive in a hurry. Through those 600 rounds, didn't have any kind of malfunctions or misfeeds. The gun run like a damn sewing machine. I did carry this gun. I went and got me a really nice leather holster thanks to Next Holster. Of course, I've had this holster for years, and I slipped it in that 1911 holster, and it carried it with a good solid gun belt. I think it's a great self-defense, home defense, concealed carry gun. You still got 8+1's capacity in the famed 10 millimeter, which will do anything and everything the 357 Magnum will do, which is certainly considered one of the gold standards of defensive ammo, but it will do it just a little bit better. Recoil, not that bad, very manageable. I had my mom and several of my friends and family shoot the gun. Allison, Tamika, she was pretty new to guns still, and she was able to run the gun, didn't have any trouble with it. So if people tell you that, 10 millimeter is just it kicks too much, or it weighs too much, or it's too hard to shoot, now, there's not a bit of truth in that. All it takes is a little bit of training, a little bit of technique, a little bit of practice, and a little bit of faith, and no problem. So we did shoot the gun out at 25 yards from a rest. Best group of the day was 1.5 inches, no kidding. But the gun averaged 1.75 inch, 2 inch groups. So what I want to do now is I'm going to detail strip this pistol. I want to look at the guts of it, see how she's held up over 600 rounds, and go from there. But I'm not going to put you through the boring part, so by the magic of camera, you're not going to have to sit through me detail stripping it. 600 rounds downrange is not a whole lot. I mean, that's just barely getting a gun broke in good. I want to say that within 600 rounds, a lot of those being pretty warm 10 millimeter, if there was a problem with this gun, it would for sure have shown up. And I want to mention, through those 600 rounds, I didn't just use the 2 magazines that Dan Wesson sent. I got an old Colt Delta Elite blued mag that honestly I have no idea where it came from. I got a couple other Delta Elite mags, which is really the same mag Dan Wesson sends you, but I used a variety of magazines, not just the 2 that sent with the gun, and they were equally as reliable. I thought that was worth pointing out, which, truthfully though, there shouldn't be any reason why they wouldn't be, so maybe it wasn't worth pointing out. First thing I want to look at here is the barrel, and I'm looking here at the radial locking lugs, and all the edges on those radial locking lugs are nice and crisp. There's no peening or chips, and that is equally true to where those radial locking lugs mate into the slide. That's all nice and crisp. So what that tells me is the gun's timed right. If it had any kind of timing issues, I promise you those radial locking lugs would be telling us by now. For the record, this pistol does not run any kind of firing pin safety. I'm going to look at the sear and disconnector. Sear's nice and good. The sear edge is fine. Looking here at the hammer hooks, they're still nice and sharp, so not any kind of dragging or problems with that. Everything looks good. The damn plunger spring isn't kinked, but it's good to see that Dan Wesson is still including their reduced radius firing pin stop, which is going to help mitigate a lot of that recoil by taking away some of the mechanical advantage the slide has as it's cocking the hammer. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, my buddy John Travis, 1911 tuner, he wrote a great article for Range Hot on the reduced radius firing pin stop. The barrel bushing here is nicely fit. It's snug, but I didn't have to have a tool to take it apart, and I don't want it like that. I really don't. I want to be able to detail strip a pistol in the field without any tools. And your traditional 1911, you should be able to do that. And this one, I was able to do it as well. Like I had said, as you're detail stripping it, the pistol becomes its own toolbox. So your firing pin becomes a punch. Your sear spring becomes your flat-headed screwdriver. Your leg on your hammer strut, that becomes a punch where you can line stuff up. So if you've got any questions or comments, though, as always, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, the whole 9 yards. Please feel free to reach out to me. Let me know what you think, good, bad, right, or wrong. If you like this and you're watching on YouTube and not Range Hot, hey, how about like and subscribe to Range Hot? I have never really asked anybody to do that, and my subscriptions are doing pretty well, but everybody keeps telling me, Hunter, make sure you remind them at the end if they like it, hey, give you a thumbs up and subscribe. If you give me a thumbs down, that's cool too. The only thing I ask is if you thumbs down the video, let me know why. Was there something you didn't like, something I did wrong? So it's getting cold here in North Carolina. We're actually getting ready to get some snow, which I'm looking forward to. So I think I'm going to get in the house. Well, first thing I'm going to do is put this gun back together, and I'm going to probably shoot a little bit more. And then I'm going to get in the house and take it easy. So I really appreciate you watching the videos, reading the articles, reaching out to me, questions and comments. Thank you very much for that. I want you to take care of yourselves and each other, and I look forward to seeing you at the range.